Hello class. In this video we're going to start our Photoshop work. So I've already opened Photoshop, and in Photoshop I've opened two files. I've opened my rendering that you should have just created if you're following along in this assignment, and I've opened this background image, a photograph that I've taken and I provided. So you should download that if you haven't already and open that also in Photoshop. And what we're going to end up doing is copying and pasting our house into here and then doing a bunch of work in this file. So to begin, what we really need to do is get our house ready to be copied and pasted in that file. There's just a few things I want to do before we do that. So in this file, I'm going to go to my layers, and layers are going to be over here. If you don't see your layer tab or anything over there, go to Windows and then check layers, and it should come up for you. You'll notice that when you basically open an image, it's going to come through with just one layer, and it's going to be locked, and we want it to be unlocked so we can work on it. So I'll just click the lock, and it'll become an unlock layer, and I'm going to go and essentially take all the white and delete it so it can be ready for my background image. So I'm going to use the magic wand tool to do that. Now if you don't see the magic wand tool, you perhaps see this one. If you see this tool, just click and hold, and a couple tools will come up, and you want to select the magic wand. And click anywhere on the white space, and you'll see that you get this train, this dotted line sort of moving along the screen. And when you see that in Photoshop, it basically means that area of pixels have been selected. Now I've got a few. If you're looking closely, you can do this in a few steps, but if you're looking closely, you can see there's some other things I'll need to get, like this space in here is not selected in it, but it should be deleted. So if you have a few other areas you need to select, then go ahead, click on this button right here. That's going to allow you to select multiple areas at the same time. You might not. You might be good to go without needing to do that. Pay close attention here too, because there's a subtle issue here that didn't go quite as planned. Look at down here. If I zoom in, which is Alt on my keyboard, and up on my scroll wheel, you can see that I have this outside my selection area, or it's actually selected, but I want to keep those steps. You may or may not have something. Basically what happened is this gray is too close to this white, and Photoshop couldn't tell the difference. So it said, oh, that must be white too. Let me select it. And I've got another little piece. I happen to have another little piece with this light brown here. So I have to remove those from the area. And you can do that as well. So to do that, I'm going to go to my polygon lasso tool. And if you see your lasso tool, which looks like this, again, just click and hold. You can select the polygon lasso tool. And this time you want to select this button here, which is your remove some from selection set. All right, so then I'm just going to basically trace out, and actually I can go wider because anything in these stairs don't matter. As wide as you want around that area, but down where it touches the white, I have to be pretty much right on that line. And when I do that, you can see I've got a nice selection set there. And the same thing over here. I want to be right on that line at the area that I have issue with, but beyond it, I can just be anywhere just to add it like that. So magic wand can get you really close, but it might not get you 100%. You might need to add things, or you might need to subtract things as needed. And I'm just looking closely. It looks like I've got the same issue right here. So I'm going to zoom in. Again, around the bottom edge, I'm going to be close in. At the top, it doesn't matter. It can be wider like that. Okay, so once you have your thing selected, and if you're not perfect, you're okay, but once you think you're good to go, you hit delete, and you can see the white disappears. What's left in its place is a checkerboard pattern. In Photoshop, as in many other things, a checkerboard pattern means there's no pixels there, or that it's transparent. It's alluding to that there's transparency in those pixels, really. And that's what we want, because we want to be able to see our photograph behind it. Now, when you saw the white, it was white pixels, right? And it would have blocked out. White blocks out pixels below it. Transparent pixels, or no pixels in this case, means that we'll be able to see things behind it as we layer this up as we go forward. So you want it to look checkerboard like that. That's a good thing. It means there's no pixels. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go select, deselect. That removes the train line. I could have done Control D. And we can look over and see if our drawing's okay. Now I noticed that I've got this tree over here. You may or may not have a tree, perfectly fine either way. But I do notice there's some spots in here that has some white in here. All right, so I can go ahead and keep deleting them. I'm going to go back to my magic wand. I can click in there and press delete. I can click like in this little zone and press delete. You could zoom in a little bit in some of these areas and press delete. Now there's a lot of little spaces in here, and there's different ways of solving that problem. And ultimately, once I think I got the big spaces, I think it's going to be good enough with the Photoshop work we're going to do that it's not going to become an issue. So I'm not too worried about it once I got a basic start about that. And I'll press Control D to deselect, and we're ready to bring this guy into Photoshop. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to select this all by going to Select All or Control A. We get that train sort of dotted line around the whole thing. I'm going to do Edit Copy or Control C. I'm going to come over to my background image, and I'm going to go Edit Paste or Control V, and it's going to drop right in. Now it's possible, depending on your photograph and how you've scaled this and how you've exported, that your house could be very large or very small. In either event, that doesn't matter. We will have to scale it. We will have to put it into place as we're moving forward. So just paste it in for now, and we sort of merged our photographs together. And I think what I'll do is I'll move on to the next video, which is going to be very important, which is actually matching your perspective. Because right now my house and my photograph don't match in perspective. That's what makes it weird. And you probably have that case as well. So we'll solve that in the next video.